Plant a Seed is a program for all school-age youth that focuses on building moral development and self-esteem. We use arts, we use athletics, and we use education in a creative way to get kids to buy in and build their own intrinsic value. We want to build strong kids because we know when you build a strong kid, you're going to have a strong adult. You're going to have a resilient adult. You're going to have a person who understands they stand for something. They understand their value. They understand their purpose, and they're willing to contribute to society. I was a first grade teacher, and I had a first grade student who went through a very traumatic incident. Her mother was murdered. And I remember this little girl talking to me, asking me questions. And it was then that it kind of coupled with my own trauma in my life, dealing with the suicide of my father and trying to understand my own identity. It was like I connected with this little girl at that moment. And I realized that kids do not have a intrinsic understanding of who they are unless we plant the seed in them. And when we do that, they have the strength and they have the moral fiber. They have the ability to navigate and process through trauma-related incidents in their life.
I always say that what I learned coming up through Plant a Seed, I go back to those roots oftentimes when have experienced peer pressure in high school, college, middle school, or arguments with my friends where they're not understanding my perspective, or I get into this cycle of trying to prove something about myself. This light bulb goes off and I'm reminded, like, no, you knew who you were at a young age because of what Plant a Seed taught you.
Because of the way that my mom raised me as well as my other sisters, using this curriculum that was just kind of like embedded in the way that she raised us. She was gracious, but she also held us to a certain standard. And she taught us the things that are in this curriculum. She taught us the things about being confident, knowing our identity, knowing how to push through challenges. And so the development was not easy, but it was very, very effective.
Our children are our future. You know, they are our most cherished and valuable natural resource. How we raise our children goes a long way to establish how stable and fruitful our society is going to be. And that's a vital role that Plant a Seed plays.
It just develops you as a human being, as a person, as a mentor, or as a mentee. It teaches you how to follow, it teaches you how to lead.
Watching Skylar teach the program to these fourth graders, seeing their eyes open and how they wanted to participate in this, inspired me to join Plant a Seed. Going through the program and watching some of the kids that are now graduates and seeing what this program did for them and how well-spoken they are, how articulate they are, inspired me to take this program to different school districts and spread the word. This program teaches you the life skills that schools just don't.
We have to take a lot in mind with what is happening in the schools at the time. Teachers are overworked and they are overloaded, and what happens is statistic-wise 60 to 70% of their day they're spent correcting behaviors in kids and only about 30% teaching. So what we needed to do was have a curriculum where we can facilitate. We come in, we facilitate, we need 1 day a week with them, probably a 20 to 25 minute class. That's what we do with the elementary kids because that's about how long we'll hold their attention. The curriculum is really designed to get them caught up socially and emotionally. What's happening with the elementary kids because of COVID is that they were so isolated they didn't have the opportunity to develop those social skills when they're in first and second grade. So now we have third, fourth, fifth graders who, when they can't get something done, they're flopping on the floor. They're not learning that they can overcome this and they can try harder. That's really what the curriculum is about, is getting them back in place where they have confidence in themselves. And then once they have confidence in themselves, they'll be more challenged to take on what the teacher's trying to teach them. Well, what's happening in high school is the truancy problem. Again, going back from COVID when kids didn't go to school, and now they're choosing sometimes to just not go at all. If truancy is up, the teachers can't teach to empty seats. So you have kids that are not learning, the school's numbers go down, the math proficiency goes down, the reading proficiency goes down, and it becomes a real mess. Our goal is to keep those kids in the schools. We have a couple of programs that we do that with. Think before you act, think before you speak. Toxic talk will get you nowhere. Social media could be good, but can also be bad for you. Body image is important. You need to be confident in who you are. Respect authority, and they'll respect you. Lessons like that, life's lessons that are not really taught in school, not as much taught at home. Kids are using their cell phones to get information that may not necessarily guide them the right way. And anytime a kid walks out the front door, you think you've raised them correctly, you put time and effort into them, but they're in a different culture once they're out there. And so what this does is it's an intrinsic guardrail so that they know how far to go and how far not to go. It's really important for them to know no one might be looking over their shoulder, but integrity is important. So that's kind of what we're trying to teach in a nutshell.
It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. And it doesn't matter where you come from. What matters is where you're going. And where you're going, where you end up, is going to be determined by the choices that you make. And so Plant a Seed is about helping young people make the right choices.